Hey, welcome back to another episode of this week's Drop. I am Sidney Smith with my co-host and my brother,
David Greaves.
Good, bro.
How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. This is a good day to be recording.
Yes.
Wednesdays is turning. We used to record on Mondays. Now we record on Wednesdays.
Yeah, Mondays was hard.
Yeah, Mondays was tough. Wednesdays are easier, but this is one of the highlights of my week is recording this podcast.
Yes, it's a joy. I look forward to it. I'm always looking for the topics and trying to do a little bit of research on what's happening during the week so that bring some freshness to it every week.
And it's growing. And shout out to everybody who's subscribed since last week. Thank you very much. Thank you to people who have left us some comments on our pod, on the clips, even if you didn't agree with us. Hopefully your feelings aren't hurt because I put one in your ass. Yeah. Cody out there.
We warned you.
Yeah, I'll let you know. Before we get too much further, I want to give a shout out to your pops, man, for watching.
Yes, I really appreciate that. Everybody who's, I've sent it to pretty much at least gives me comments or feedback, which is all we're asking for. Listen, give us a feedback. If you didn't like it, we did something wrong, we could do something better. Just put it in there. Be respectful, and we'll respect it back. And again, if you disagree with something, please fact check before you leave a comment. Because if not,
boom,
I warned you.
Boom. But we got another good show. Thanks again. I just wanted to make sure we gave a shout out to Mr. Greaves there for watching and giving us some good feedback.
Senior.
Yeah, Mr. Greaves Senior. I want to make sure I wanted to thank him for that. All right, man. Before we go too much further, subscribe, share, let people know if you love us, let them know if you hate us, tell even more people that they should watch and check it out. Also, I always have dates coming up. Go to SidneySmithCreative.com. Check out those dates. Check out some of the other things I have there, sketches and movies and all that good stuff. What am I missing? Oh, yeah. And don't forget to go check out my special right here on the YouTube channel, Misunderstood. Last time I looked, I think I am like 300, 400 away from hitting that 200,000 mark. So
let's make that 200,000 work.
Very happy about that. And if my voice sounds a little off, I do apologize. I got something going. I'm trying to drink some hot tea. But with all that said, sir, what you got coming up, man?
This weekend, February 1st, I have a women's empowerment shooting day. And then the next 2 Saturdays, I think it's the 8th and the 15th, we have CCW classes. So come on out. Firearms Fundamentals CCW, davidsmark.com. You can always email me at davidsmarkaz.com.
There you go.
I'm sorry, davidsmarkaz2020.com.
All right. So check that out as well. I love the idea of the CCW. I always love anything that has something to do with empowering women.
Yes.
You and I talk a little bit about how we feel about men who disrespect women. Yeah. So love anything that has to do with empowering them. All right, let's jump into the show. I think we had a good one. And
yes,
this first topic I found so odd. I don't know if you want to introduce it to the audience.
I'm gonna let you start because I'm gonna jump in and
okay. So DJ Akademiks was heard online. I'm not sure if it was a Discord or what it might have been, but he was having a conversation with a 15-year-old, and the discussion came about trying to get this 15-year-old to have sex with grown women.
Mm-hmm.
And the back and forth, I really was taken aback by it because I know how I grew up. And to hear this young man say, no, I should not be having sex with an adult, and then drop the G word in. I'm not even sure if I can say it, but I'm going to say it, grooming in there, and giving some serious pushback to DJ Akademiks. I found it to be very refreshing to see that was his approach and that's how he went with it.
And there were several other people in
this conversation.
Yes. So he had other younger kids on in the boxes.
Yeah. In the chat room for some of you out there.
Yeah, in the chat room, which really was disturbing. Because when you sent it to me, I watched it. And again, I come from, where my uncles and my cousins was like, yeah, go ahead, Dada, go do this. And, and I understand now how it warped my mind and brain and thought and ideas. The pushback I thought was amazing for a younger person to be strong enough and as strong-willed as he was to say, nah, I shouldn't be. And then I think one of the other kids in the chat. He was like, "What's your address? I'm gonna send some." I don't know if prostitutes is allowed to say that on here, but
you said it. Go ahead.
I said it.
Some ladies of the night.
Ladies, yes. And he was like, "Dude, I'm 15."
Right.
And the problem I had with DJ Akademiks was the apology. There wasn't an apology.
Mm-hmm. The non-apology.
Yes. It was I have to do better, but nothing irritates me more than to have somebody say, "I'm sorry I did this, but if you did such and such, then it wouldn't have happened."
Right.
And that's what he did. And then he doubled down on it and was like, "I don't need nobody, I'm trying to help these people." This was a child. And again, in this current climate, I just think you're not aware of what is going on around you. So for me, it was disappointing, disheartening, all of the dis words that you could say. I was really disappointed in the fact that he didn't get that it was wrong for you to talk to children about having sexual relations with an adult or even with another 15-year-old. And you didn't get it from the pushback and even from when everybody jumped on you, you was like, "I don't think that was wrong."
I like the where you went with it in terms of how you grew up. And this is kind of what I was hinting to. In our time growing up, you had older cousins, older brothers, or older whatever who would, and a lot of that was because how they were brought up. And again, to have this young man to be able to see it and to be able to drop the G word in there and say this is wrong, and for him to have the maturity level to know this is wrong.
He was more mature in the conversation than DJ Akademiks.
And for you adults to keep pushing this, but here's the other thing. I can't imagine as a grown man ever, and I never have, sitting with some 15-year-old that I don't know and trying to tell him you should be pursuing a situation like that.
When I heard the interview, and his responses several times, he said he knows the kid. It was like his nephew or friend. He's, they've communicated back and forth several times. So it wasn't a new thing. But the other kid that was on I don't know if it was podcast or game, whatever they were doing. There was
so the 15-year-old he knew, or
yes,
okay,
the main one he was having a conversation, but he didn't know the one that he offered to send prostitutes to his house.
Gotcha.
So again, you're taking what me and you might be cool with, or it's something that we've talked about or whatever, and as a joking. It's my little bro, is what he think he said, like his little brother or something like that. And you took that and you now put that onto somebody else. Again, I don't understand how he's not aware of the climate that's going on in the country and in the world. And you're unaware that those things that we did when we were younger caused us adult harm.
It damaged.
Yes, it damages us. It warps our perception and our thought process of what is supposed to be something that happens in a natural thing.
Because this has gone on for, 20, 30 years now, where every few years they catch a teacher.
Yeah. I just saw it today.
Right. Who's having a relationship.
Principal and two teachers were giving alcohol and drugs to people in their high school. So freshmen. So
we see this happen every few years. And the first time being a kid, hearing about, because even as kids, you hear so-and-so is with so-and-so, the teacher, whatever, or you may have a crush on the teacher, whatever. You don't have the full understanding of how that is going to affect that young man or that young woman having that. I'm going to say, as much as it can be, having a relationship with someone who's an adult. As much as it can be. And I'm saying this in terms of, this isn't where you get snatched off the street and taken to a van.
No.
And I'm saying even under that, you are still doing major harm to yourself as a child in that situation.
I've had this discussion as far as I've been, Tammy, 13. So let's say 15 years ago. where I told a young lady, you couldn't handle me.
Right.
I'm going to mess you up for the next person.
And that's adult to adult.
And this adult to adult.
Yeah.
So 15, grown woman, or vice versa. Again, and because I think it was a male to a female, everybody's like, oh, but God forbid it was a female that he was talking to and a dude. It would have been totally different. And I think because of that, he doesn't understand. He's like, well, what did I do wrong? This is what I learned. But you should know better. These are children. Why would you bring an adult into or have a child, making it okay to have sexual relations at 15? Like, you don't know what's what. It changes you. It distorts your idea of what
a relationship
is and what sex should be. So I just think you missed an opportunity, and because he tripled down on it, and I'm not saying doubled, he tripled down on it. I was like, are you not aware of what's going on in the world? You're not aware of like, you got to have your head in a hole to not understand what it does for people to have sex early. Just, he missed it. DJ Akademiks, I'm disappointed. I think you could have done better.
He could have, and he should have.
Yes.
And going back to the other part of it, because I don't know Ak at all, but I could see where this young man went with the grooming side of it.
Yes.
Because this is what it kind of feels like is happening at this moment.
We can go to the Bieber and think about that.
Why are you this worried about trying to do something like this with a young man who's 15 years old?
Yeah. Again, you don't have no other friends?
Why are you having a conversation with a 15-year-old?
About sex.
About anything.
Yes.
I have nephews, Caden and Jackson, and I'll text happy birthday or what's going on? How was your football game? Or I'm going to take you out to dinner so we can have some uncle-nephew time to answer some questions that maybe you can't get the answer from
If
your
you
parents.
asked me about sex, then I would definitely we could have a conversation, but I'm not bringing to you.
But I'm not calling you up and having a full-blown conversation on anything.
And then telling you, I'm going to go out and get you some hookers so you could.
In fact, I go the opposite way. I don't want to hear about it. You don't need to.
Yes.
Stay
just
away
wait
from it.
Yeah, wait as long as you can.
As long as you can. And this is, and I know some people might watch this one day like, well, you two mofos were probably out there doing X, Y, and
yes,
Z.
I was. And that's why I'm saying to you to wait.
Yeah.
I promise you, it's not going anywhere. It's not. And if my 15-year-old niece, nephew would come up to me, again, I tell you what my nieces, when they were young, I tell them all the time, listen, we're liars. We only want one thing, and we're going to tell everybody we know about it. Smell my fingers was the thing of the past. If I got a video, I'm showing everybody the video.
Yes.
So don't believe us that no, it's going to stay between us. We don't even know how to say that and mean that at 15, 16, 17.
And we don't. We didn't mean it then. Yeah. And we definitely, from what you see happening, we don't mean it now.
No. So wait, it's not going anywhere. It messes up everything. It messes even, how many times have we had conversation with people and we're like, listen, before you get into a relationship, abstain as long as possible because that confuses the relationship. Yep. You overlook some warning signals that you shouldn't have, and now you're end up 6 months down the road in jail because you didn't listen to the warning signals, because you put...
Well, even beyond that, we have these conversations and learning from my own shit, just be honest up front type. Yeah. Have those open communications.
Yeah.
If I'm not going to be in this, I don't have any, at this point, I have no intention of being with you long term. I'm here for the fun.
Yes.
I'm here to have someone to go to the movies with. I'm here for all those different things. And I think that goes back to having life experience, learning how to be an adult and to do adult things and have adult conversations.
Interview.
You can't do it at 15.
No. And you're not capable.
And I don't know, going back to where I was going to go with this, I don't know why a grown man wants to talk to 15-year-olds about this or at all.
He thought that, again, this was him and his little buddy, and we've had this, and you thought it was cute. And then when he pushed back you said to the other 15-year-old, give me your address. I'm going. And he was like, I'm 15. And at no point did it click in your head. And then even after that, after everybody gave you pushback, you gave this half-hearted apology of, well, I got to do better. But no, there's no, I got to do better. There's no but at the end of it. Just shut up.
Right.
You know, the segment we have of
no comment.
That was no comment. I made a mistake. That's it. I made a mistake. My fault. Boop. Shut up. But
I just, people joke with me because I have the joke where I talk about other people's kids. I don't like other people's kids, and there's some truth and then there's some play in that joke. But one thing for sure, and I was just talking to my mother about this a week ago concerning my sister growing up, and we've had this conversation. You talked about it with your daughter. Under no uncircumstances terms should my sister, and according to my mother, and you with your daughter, should she be seated in the lap of another man when she was growing up?
No.
And no, there was no reason for a man who's too old to be chatting with my sister when she was growing up.
Listen,
your daughter,
bruh.
And so and when you talk about the mindset, I'm stumbling over my words. I know because I'm trying to put this together because I'm trying not to offend, but I'm trying to get my point out. So forgive me. There's no reason I see myself as a grown man, I should be having conversations with 15-year-olds, period, unless I'm trying to impart some wisdom.
Yes. And even then, I want an adult. I want a parent. I want somebody who's responsible for this child in the room, or at least some other person, because I don't want anything I say to get misconstrued.
100%.
Even I just had this discussion. I left the dentist's office, and one of the wives was saying that her husband was in the church and he was meeting with other people, and as he started to grow, that there were boundaries that she wanted set. And I was like, I get that. But I also need you to understand that as men, we may not understand some of the things, the signals that you have. So I need you to explain it to me in a different way. And the light that you have inside of you. You're a comedian. There's people who come up and you're just like, hey, I'm doing my job. But there's certain people who have an ulterior motive that we may not see. So impart that in a different way. Don't say it's a boundary. I say, explain to me. Maybe you don't understand your light and I'm trying to protect you because everybody doesn't have good intentions.
Right.
So again, men, please stop having conversations with little girls. Women, same thing with little boys. Again, if you're not imparting wisdom, having a prostitute is not wisdom. Having sex for a child is not wisdom. It's not wise. Adults should wait. And that's part of the problem. We have so many baby mamas and baby daddies is because you didn't take the time.
And I definitely want to praise his parents, because the fact that young man could say grooming, he's had conversations with someone at some point in time who's imparted some type of wisdom in him. And again, if you're an adult, if you're a man, and you made a great point, even with my nephews I was just talking about, even when I catch them, let's say we just standing by the cooler at a barbecue and we start chatting and I'm like, look, don't do, you should do, and this and other. First person who hears about the conversation is my bro. Like, yo, I just got done talking to your son
such and such, about such and such,
just so you know.
So when he comes to you, you don't, again, because at 15 or older, younger, you still don't understand everything in the way that I'm saying it. And I might say it in a way that could be misconstrued. And that's why the first time when you sent it to me, I looked at it and I was like, okay, I get what he was trying to say. But when it was brought back to you and you said, oh, I didn't think about it that way, I got to do better. Should have been your last and only comment, but you said, well, y'all think I'm doing it. No, stop.
I still think you were doing it, and I think someone whispered in your ear, and that's why you came back and you actually did a legit apology.
No, it wasn't. I never heard a legit apology. Every time he said something, it was, but. That's not an apology. If you butt behind it, it's not an apology. You're trying to make it okay for what you did. It's not okay at all.
Not okay. So
do better.
I just hope there's not something we don't know and it turns out to be more than.
Yeah.
Because to me, it was weird It was just weird shit.
If now you heard, okay, if one of those two individuals, parents or somebody, decided to make an investigation on you, you opened the door for this. Mm-hmm. And this is what people, if somebody came to you and said, hey, bro, it might not be, this is what you opened the door for. Hey, wait a minute. How many other people have you said this to? Have you actually sent prostitutes to some child's house?
Mm-hmm. Not to mention, you already mentioned it, but I'm circling back and agree with you. Had this been X with a 15-year-old girl, whew, this is, bro, he did a ton of bricks would have fell on top of it.
Oh, man. And I think that's why it's not as big a story as it could be. And you don't understand that you need to nip this in the bud immediately. Mm-hmm. Because again, if it was a 15-year-old girl and you said you was going to send a man mm-hmm. over to her house, because that's what you were basically saying. I'm going to send a grown woman to your house.
Just changing the genders. It's the same conversation. To me, it's just as bad either way.
Yes. And that's what we need to start understanding in this country. There's, again, whether it's a woman or a man, again, these teachers having sex with these kids, you know, when it's with a boy, we're like, oh man, I never had no teachers. It's still wrong.
Stop being a weirdo.
Yeah.
And at minimum, Akademiks is a weirdo.
Yeah. Dude.
Do better, bro.
Do better. Please.
It was just one when I saw it. I said, I got to send this to Dave. Yeah. I think we got to talk about this.
For all you out there that want to have little young girls sitting on your lap or young boys sitting on your lap. No.
Bro, I'm telling you what, this was the other thing I was thinking. If that been a daughter of mine and a man was saying that, I'd put my hands on this.
Yes.
Man. But if it was a son of mine, I would also put my hands on that man.
Yes. Yes. It might not be as, and I'm wrong for this, but it might not be as quick for me to put hands on him, which is my own internal being broken, because when I was young, it was okay, mm-hmm. you know?
And the reason why I say I'm going straight to the hands is because I just don't trust people who want to be around kids like that.
Mm-mm.
It's no one who seeks out to sit and have conversations with children in person on Discord or whatever it is. I don't trust it. You're a grown man.
What can a child have a conversation with you about that you're seeking out that conversation?
Yes, and that's what I'm saying. So I'm putting my hands on you because why are you talking to my kid on anything? Which is why and we're far beyond this at this point. I get so concerned with these children being able to put headphones on and sit and play video games and have conversations, and the parents, you don't know what the hell what they're hearing.
Yeah. They have, again, my kids will tell you, phone checks, come in, give me your phone, give me your laptop, give it all. And ain't no code that I can't get in and all the, because it might be innocent, but more times than not, it wasn't. I always found something. It was something. Why is this person talking about drugs? I didn't know they did drugs. Mm-hmm. Or, did you just send a picture of this? And this was before because it's a felony to send a picture to somebody else of your body parts.
Yeah, it is now. Yeah.
So, and there's some schools that are automatically expelling you.
Yeah. And
you can't go back to that school because you did something that thought everybody else was doing. Mm-hmm. So, again, these are just little things that at 15, 16, you don't know. You don't quite understand. It was just my friend and they sent it to me and then I sent it back. But your mother the mother only saw you send it back.
Right.
And now we got to go to court.
Yeah, it's just, like I said, just weird shit, man.
Yeah. Please, let's go lighter.
Let me write this down here. It's timestamp. All right, so where we are going to go next, this is one that you and I, for some reason, this conversation, it's not just you and I. People seem to keep having this talk. And when I say people, I mean men mm-hmm. for a lot of it. And you and I talked about before, women are having it too. There are women who go back and forth about it. There was a woman, we can't remember her name, who was hardcore for men.
Yes.
All over IG. I think other women got eliminated.
Because I haven't seen her in a while. So
yeah, she's gone. She's snatching the van.
She got disappeared.
Outside of the pros. You talking against us. Why are men, and this one I got from Shannon and Ocho from Nightcap. They were talking about it most recently, and I thought, man, let's sit down and just have a real talk about it. Men not as concerned with chasing women. And the reason it caught my attention was the way they posed the question.
Mm-hmm.
Men not as concerned with chasing women as they used to be. I know where I'm at with it. What are your thoughts on it? And let me throw this part in there as well. A lot of times we hear these conversations, they're had by men who've been around for a while, who've had some type of success. And they have the thought process they have about it. I question whether men in different positions see it the same way.
No. Successful men, I might not be financially as successful as they are,
Mm-hmm.
but successful in life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying not to incriminate myself from my past.
We all got a past.
Yes. Being successful in relationships, you know that a lot of dudes in our group don't have game. So if you don't have game, you could have a nice car, you can have whatever, but if you don't got game, checkmate.
Right.
And here in Phoenix, especially, I definitely don't understand, because I think it's like 7-1 men to women.
Crazy ratio.
And then just say it's 4-1 in the rest of the country, because there are more single women out there than single men. That are in the hunt, because the women who aren't hunting are off. And the men that aren't hunting are usually not playing for the team.
Okay.
So it limits, I love the conversation of high value men is what I'm hearing all over the internet. High value men. I need a high value man. He has to make 6 figures. He got to be this tall, this weight, athletically built, and all of these things that I'm hearing you guys chop up as criteria for your expectations for a man. And every time I hear the pushback, I'm like, again, when are you guys going to understand that you're making such a small piece of the pie? One lady was talking about she can't date a bus driver. He has to own a bus driver company.
Yeah. I remember that. I can't remember.
All of the nonsense that I hear coming from supposedly smart, successful women. You know that you limit the pool of men when you say he has to make 6 figures. One, he has to be 6 foot. He has to be athletic and nice and all of these things that you keep taking the percentage that was already at 10% now to 0.4.
Yeah.
And then you want to know why you can't find a good man, because you're expecting more from men than you really understand or are willing to look at, to me.
I think one of the things here, again, men not as concerned with chasing women as they used to be. I think with the internet, with IG, with everyone having a platform, if you choose to have one, talking about whatever it is you want to talk about. Heck, we're doing it right here. Women have allowed men to really see what women think of them, generally speaking.
Yeah. As objects.
Yes. And as piggy banks.
Yes.
Just things to get me what I want.
A Birkin bag or some shoes.
And I do think you are seeing men, especially men who have the choice to be who with almost anybody I would choose to be with.
There's always a choice we have. And that's what I don't think women understand. That I could be broke and find some successful woman. Yeah. If I got enough game to take me off of the streets. Mm-hmm. So I don't think that they realistically understand that the longer you wait, the less your value. You're not a classic car or a bottle of wine where you get more expensive and worth more the older that you get.
Well, because if you're out there right now and you're still single, whether you're male or female, you've all been asked the same question: why are you not married?
Yes.
That is always the reason. And then whether you tell the truth or not tell the truth, it's up to you. But that question always comes. Yeah. And that question comes because the person sitting across from you sees you as less than, especially if you've never been married at least once.
Yeah. How many times have we said a beautiful woman, single, past the age of 25? What's wrong with you? You're crazy. Something is wrong with you, because we're men, we're hunters. So you can't tell me that you haven't been hunted approached, and you haven't found nobody.
But it also could be, especially in this day and age, and using that, let's say 25 to 30, whatever it is for that woman. She could be one of those women who are looking past what her true options are. Like, there are men who you're looking past what your reality is in terms of who you could find as a mate.
Crazy.
No, well, yeah. But I want to make sure that they understand it could, because we know men too.
Yes.
You trying to reach for this over here when your reality doesn't even put you in that wheelhouse.
Again, if you make less than 75,000 and are not educated, articulate, you're no way that somebody making $250,000 a year. That's like me and a project woman. Look, for what are we going to talk about? Again, a 21-year-old. What are we going to talk about? Taking drugs, smoking. I don't do none of that. So what are we talking about? You want music, and I'm listening to R&B. You listening to drill. There's nothing we can have in comparison that we can even grow and communicate with. So,
well, that's the part of it too, is how would you expect to be, man or woman, to be in your world economically, to be able to even get an entry into that world that you want to try to find a mate in. And so that's why you see a lot of times these people having these conversations are beautiful women, because beautiful women can get through almost any door.
Yes.
But at the same time, the man you're trying to catch, he's probably 2 or 3 steps ahead of you.
And if not, you're overlooking the dude making 75 because you make 250. Yes. But if you want a black man and you want him to be making this amount of money, there's a lower pool of men available in that thing. And instead of you finding somebody whom, I hate to hear the word settle, because this is while you think you should be able to reach up for a man making 250 because I make 250 or $500,000. No, you might have to reach down in your thought process to a good man who is 75 and above making that. Because if you're looking for the financial part, instead of, well, I deserve to have this. I agree with you, deserve it. But the reality is there's not that many doing that.
Yeah, men not as concerned with chasing women as they used to be. I think for some of them, especially for your high dollar, high value, as some people like to put it, man,
drives me crazy.
Don't have to really chase anything, because y'all gonna jump in the boat anyway. And so I do think there is that part of it. But I do think men have a better understanding of what some of these women want them for. And so, look, this is the business arrangement, then this is what the business arrangement is. And that's the part that I always, at least I don't ever get a chance to see the conversations being had when they're having them online. Do the women understand the business arrangement you're making? You're going to go get this high value, this high dollar individual. You probably don't come to the table with the same things that he come to the table.
Or you think that what you are bringing to the table, we value as much.
And we don't.
I don't care how much money you make. It does not impress me. It maybe affords us to live in a different lifestyle or to do some things. But even then, the mentality that I'm hearing is, I need a high value man so that I don't have to do anything. I can take my money and keep my money. And I don't know where that works for anybody except you being a trophy wife.
But and that's what I'm saying. The business arrangement.
Yes.
You have no say. This is what's happening. This is what you're wearing.
And
this
they
is
don't,
where you're going.
They don't want to do that. That's not what they want to do. They want it to be equal, but you want the same benefits that somebody who is a Tuesday, Thursday chick, you want it to be a husband. And again, so many, you might find one out of a million that says, oh, keep all your money, baby. It's my job to provide. It's my job to take care of everything. You do whatever you want to with your money. That's not a team. That's an individual with a spouse.
I think the other part on, do we chase them the way we do? Again, I think it's a little bit of a loaded question. I think for when a man gets to a certain point. So I'll say, all things being equal, I wouldn't chase anything, because at this stage, while I enjoy being intimate, it's not the most important thing to me. There are other things that I find.
Yes. Because after we have the relations, what are we going to do? Because the whole, we're going to do it all day and for hours and hours. Stop.
Yeah.
Stop. You're not 25. At 50, listen, 45 minutes is a great, amazing day. What are we going to do with the rest 23 hours? Mm-hmm. Can we talk? Can we plan for the future? Do you have a passport? Can we go somewhere? Mm-hmm. I don't want to hear about smoking a blunt and, drinking none of those things. We can drink a nice a glass of wine and smoke a cigar and do some, but let's plan for the future. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that the reality is again, what I'm seeing is a lot of women who in no way, shape, or form could ever think about getting a high value man.
Right.
And I'm not trying to knock you women. There's a lot of you talking a lot of game that aren't making 6-7 figures. And if you are, more powers to you. But again, you're limited in the amount of Black men that are straight, that are single, that are looking for an older woman with calluses because you come with stuff that you don't understand. I don't think you're willing to, so I don't have to chase at that point. If I'm a multimillionaire, I'm not chasing nothing. They're chasing me.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're going to jump in the boat. I don't have to do anything. The boat doesn't even have to be undocked.
They be swimming.
Don't put the oar down, bro. Don't worry. We don't need to go anywhere. Yeah. The other part of it is also taking out the financial side of it is this whole, I want to be, and we talked about this, I want to be the boss. I want to be the leader. I want to be that. So watching Cheryl Underwood on Club Shay Shay last week.
Good interview. Check it out.
Yeah, very good interview. Yeah, definitely check it out. Cheryl was one of my favorite comics.
Yes.
Because she's just so funny. Even in interviews, she just is. Yeah. I don't know if she knows how not to be. I've never met her. Maybe she does, but she's always entertaining. But she talks about her husband being the head of the house. Mm-hmm. And Shannon said, well, you making all the money and you so on and so forth. She said, that's not what matters. Mm-mm. And I'm looking for a man who wants to be the head of the house. And Cheryl is older than I think the both of us. So she comes from a different generation and she comes from a time where she talks about it. My mother, this is what she did. My mother had her things she did. Mm-hmm. But when my father came home, she put that down. She cooked. My father was the first one to get his food. He was the first one to eat.
Big piece of chicken.
Big piece of chicken. Mm-hmm. All of those things. And I don't know if a lot of those women are out there anymore. Mm-hmm. But I do think that's something that men are still looking for.
Yes. Again, when we had the comment about the alpha male versus the alpha female and how alpha was for a female just drove me insane. Again, women, how about you listen to some real men who are not trying to get in your pants? Mm-hmm. I'm going to give you game without the Steve Harvey game. A real man wants a woman who is going to fit in with him and let him lead. If he's not leading, then he's not a man. And again, I just saw something where the woman was like, yeah, well, my husband lets me do this. And again, my wife will tell you in a minute, she is not henpecked or
she's not controlled.
Not controlling. She understands that when that doorbell rang, the person going to the door is David. I'm going to the door again, because I don't know what's at the door. When we're walking into somewhere, I'm going to be, again, if it goes bad, David is taking the hit. I did something wrong. I goofed up. My fault. We'll get it right. And I don't care how much money you make. It doesn't change that arrangement for me. Both of my ex-wives made more money than me. Mm-hmm. I'm still the head of the household.
Right.
And maybe it's antique and old to you, but that's why you're single.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's plenty of men who will take that role reversal, if you will. And there's plenty of women. But what I always find is that the women who always want to be with a man who's alpha as well. And that's never going to, because you don't want to take a back seat. And that alpha male is going to.
Again, anybody making that number of that you have this bar is an alpha male. He's driven. And as a driven individual, just like you are, women, because in order for you to get your masters and all of that, you're driven. You can't have two people driving.
Yeah, someone's got to jump in the back seat.
Or at least the passenger seat.
Yeah. Yeah.
You don't have to get in the back seat. Just be in the passenger seat. Be a passenger princess. Enjoy it. Because that's what you say you're craving, is a man who appreciates me. We don't appreciate money. It doesn't do it for us. We appreciate somebody who's going to let us lead, not fight us the whole way. Because we're fighting in regular work. The environment is cutthroat normally. In order to become super
successful.
Yes, it requires a sacrifice and a fight. I don't want to fight when I get home with you because, well, I make more money than you, or, you're not doing this. And stop it.
Yeah. So it was, again, men not as concerned with chasing women as they used to be. I think there's a variety of reasons. I think women have let men in on the secret.
Yes.
Of what you guys are looking for and what you are expecting, especially these young ones out here. And I think the other side of it is we've had that change. And I think men maybe they're getting a little bit more choosy on who they want to be with as well.
Again, we know that you want a Birkin bag, because I think they fall into like 3 different categories and they don't understand where you just I want you to buy me things. I want you to take care of me. I want you to pay my rent. And you've made it a business arrangement. Mm-hmm. So, okay, great. Then I know I'm going to pay for this and I get this day, that day, and this day. And if I do something extra, I can get one more day. So that's once a week. Mm-hmm. And I don't have to deal with nothing else but you being exactly what I need you to be. Mm-hmm. And then the other category is that middle category where, you're aspiring to be great. You haven't quite achieved it, but yet you're hearing the women whom have achieved greatness. And you're like, well, I deserve what they deserve because I'm a woman. It baffles me. Again, when you live in the projects, you got 6 baby daddies, and you're talking about, I want a man who makes 6. What?
Yeah.
How do you fit in the...
he may be out there somewhere, but I don't have any friends making 6 figures that are signing up for that. And I definitely don't have any friends who are making more than 6 figures who are signing up for that.
I don't have dudes who are making $60,000 a year that want to be a part of that. Again, your baby daddy don't want to be a part of it. He won't even watch your own kids.
All right, our next topic. On that note,
yes.
On the next topic,
nice soft belly one coming up.
Oh yeah, Byron Donalds. We talked about him a couple of weeks ago and laughed at him. We had some people give us some pushback, and then we never heard from them again. I don't know if they watched the show, but Byron Donalds says something. He called Trump daddy.
Yes.
All right. He was on the news on one of those shows.
Daddy's back.
Saying that Trump is going to change this and change that. And he was just singing the praises. And he said, daddy's back. And I think sometimes we hear things
Yes.
that other people just don't hear or don't make a deal out of. When a black man hears another black man call anybody, let alone Trump, daddy, that just says something to us. Depending on who's hearing it, it just does something to you. I want to know your take, Dave. Where you're at on it.
As you said, when I heard it, I was like, oh no, I didn't just hear what I think I heard. And I listened to it, and he tried to make it in a way that was cute and funny, but it sounded like, I don't want to evoke slavery and all the rest of that, but it was some shuck and jive stuff to me.
It definitely is depending on who hears it.
Yes. Again, for most mature black men, you calling another man daddy, and then it be somebody whom a part of the country feels is, I don't want to say the R word, but just doesn't really care for you or us. You know, because in that same thing, they were showing tapes of him saying, yeah, he's a good one, not like the rest of them. Yeah. And anytime Trump you put a them or a comment on, it's automatically going to go far right for me. But Byron, I guess daddy didn't care about you. You must be a stepchild, or not even a stepchild. You're a, what do they call those kids when they don't even abandon child? That's what I think he says for you. You call him daddy, but he don't know your name. You know.
When I heard it, it caught my ear. And I thought of a variety of things.
Yeah.
I thought. But one of the things I thought was that this man has no line he won't step over in terms of Byron. What did Charlie Murphy's going? Habitual line stepper.
Yes.
There's no line he won't step over in order to get, and I don't know what it is he's trying to achieve. I really don't. We talked about this a few weeks ago, and I'm going to say it again. I don't know what he and Tim Scott were. I believe I know. I believe Byron thought he was going to get a seat in the cabinet.
Something.
I believe Tim thought he would get a seat in the cabinet as well. At minimum, he wanted to be president. Otherwise, why do you run in the first place? Mm-hmm. So I don't know what, like, Tim is still in.
Yeah, Congress. He's still a senator.
But you were there anyway.
Yes.
I don't know what these men are hoping to achieve. And so when it comes to Byron, we're not supposed to be able to see all things, so God bless me on that. But what are you trying to get to by bending over and kissing this man's butt the way that you do to the point where you call another man daddy?
The first load he put in your throat wasn't enough? I'm just saying, like, how much do you swallow before you go, it doesn't taste like sugar? I'm just at a loss because you did all of this, and then daddy's back. I don't hear anybody else saying that.
There you go.
I don't hear anybody, even the lady who said it afterwards. She said it only because you said it. You opened the door. Oh, well, if he said it, this must be okay.
I've never heard his own daughter or his kids call. In fact, I think I've heard them call him Donald or Dad.
Yeah.
Never Daddy.
Just weird to know. It reminds me of Puffy. When you gonna come shopping with Daddy?
Yes.
The weirdness that everybody, there was like this. Like, I'm not hearing what I'm hearing. And that's the same thing when you said, check this out. And I was like, no, he didn't. Let me get the whole context, because maybe he said it in a way that I didn't understand it. No, you said it just the way that you said it.
There's no reason.
And there was no reason for that. Donald's back. Okay. I know it didn't come off of your tongue or out of your mouth, the throat, deep throat. Hawk 2 boy. That's what I'm gonna start calling you now. Hawk 2 boy.
You know what?
You know what? Yeah, that's his name. Donald Hawk 2.
I know politicians, they workshop stuff because they don't normally just want to run out and just say things, or just present things to the world. So they sit with their staff. In fact, sometimes the staff comes up with different things they should say or they should believe in. Did you workshop that first? Did you sit with the crew and say,
and if your staff said, that's going to have a nice ring off of it, fire them immediately. It didn't get you a job.
It didn't. And that's the part it
didn't get you a job.
That's
so
the part I struggle with.
Again, you did all of that because you wanted him in office because you thought he was going to be the greatest thing for the country. Granted, that's your belief, that's your thought process. But you didn't do all of that and take all of the fire to not get rewarded for it. Everybody else got rewarded, but you.
Mm-hmm.
This dude just from Fox News who did the same thing as you, Secretary of Defense, but you got.
Yeah, that's a great one. Secretary of Defense, Fox News. Yeah.
Again, he even got.
That's a good one.
Whose own cousin said the dude is a groomer. RFK.
Oh, yes.
He's going right now. Another incompetent person, my opinion, that you're going to make and got a high cabinet position. Talked about him like a dog. Yeah. And now he got a job. And you still ain't got a job. You just as bad as Nikki Haley. At least she stood up for him.
Ooh, man. That's oof. Yeah,
I thought she was going to get a job again.
She thought she was going to get one too. That's why she came back around. And then he talked about her, I forget what he called her, bird brain. That's what he called her 2-3 weeks ago. Yeah. Bird brain. This is after Nikki came back to the fold.
Yes, and played nice.
Came to the RNC. Mm-hmm. I'm here because I think you all should vote for Donald J. Trump and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And the minute he wins, bird brain. So
you're dumb if you thought I was going to hook you up or something.
God only knows what he's calling you Byron when you're not around at Mar-a-Lago.
Yeah.
All right. Last one. Should U.S. citizens have to serve in the United States military if you're age 18 and let's say 3 years? Should that be an automatic thing?
I believe at least 2.
Okay, so 2.
At least 2 years. Just like they do in Israel. Again, I
think.
It 2 years? I think it's 2 years. Okay. 2 years.
Okay.
I think that again, we talk about the camaraderie of the military. Because whether you're in the Navy and you wear blue, we all are blue. Mm-hmm. And the Marines, you're green, Army, whatever you are, Mm-hmm. And you get a better understanding of the melting pot of the country.
Yeah.
Because it's you guys versus everybody else.
Right.
Even if it's Navy versus Marines or Marines versus Army, it's all you versus whomever. Mm-hmm. And it gives you more pride and more understanding of what the country is and what the country stands for. Because that's what you're doing. You're representing your country in everywhere you go and everything you do. I think that is part of the problem, that there's so many people that feel this is the worst country or we did this because we do this not perfect. And because you haven't had to fight for this country or at least serve for this country, mm-hmm. You're afforded the ability to point fingers without having to serve.
Yeah, and full disclosure, we are both veterans of the Navy. I've talked about it on several pods, on this pod, diehard lover of this country, truly patriotic. Mm-hmm. That's why I voiced 2 weeks ago that I thought those insurrectionists, they're not hostages, they weren't hostages, they were insurrectionists, all should have been hanging from gallows, because that's how I truly feel about this country. And I'm with you on that. I would push you to 3, but at least 2 years. Mm. And I think there's a lot of things that come out of it. For me, the most basic, and we can go from where I'm gonna start and go from there, obviously. But a lot of people, you've never even left home without your parents.
Yes.
A lot of people. Yes. I talk about this a lot of times from relatives of mine. You've never left the city that you live in.
Yeah. Or for New York, it's the Bronx, Brooklyn, 5 boroughs. You might not even went to a different borough. You've only been in that circle.
100%. So when you get a chance to get out of that and meet people, I'll take it here too. Some people never got a chance to be around people who don't look like them.
Yes.
Like if you grow up in a certain, like I joke around with people who live in our area who are Caucasian. If they don't want to, they never have to see another person who's not Caucasian if they don't want to.
Yeah.
Because of the area that they live in.
Yes. And that's why their thought process and understanding is different. I think it's super important for us it's a melting pot of a country.
Yeah.
And again, in the military, we did people from the South, from the West, from the East, and everybody brings something different. And you're like, oh, I didn't think about it this way. I never thought that. Right. So you learn about the rest of the country that you would never know. Again, the middle of the United States voted all for Trump. And the outskirts voted for
the coast.
Yes. Yeah. So there's such a disparity because we don't understand each other.
Right. And now in this day and age, we have, again, going back to what I was saying, we have more opportunity to not learn about each other. We have more opportunity to stay in our silos.
Yes. Easy.
Whether it be cell phones or computers or the type of news I want to see. Yeah. Versus I don't want to see that news because that news doesn't echo what I'm saying, what my friends are saying. So the military, I think, is a great thing. It is a wonderful thing. That's why I'm so bothered with the Pete Hegseth being in charge of the defense now. You know, I was just talking to a friend of mine who's a veteran before Dave got here. We both are in this agreement that you couldn't have been a worse pick to be the Secretary of Defense.
The head of the military.
That is
I've already been compromised.
Already.
By you signing a non-NDA and filing out of court agreement with this person and you paid them, you're subject to that already. Mm-hmm. And I don't want the head of the defense to feel so aligned with whomever is the president that if they said push the button, that you're going to just push the button without going, well, wait a minute. Mm-hmm. I understand it's an order, sir, but I got to question it. Can you at least make me understand why we're doing this? Because just because they tell you something doesn't mean that it's always the right thing to do.
Well, in the military, we have lawful orders.
Yes.
We have lawful and unlawful orders.
And I don't think that I'm not getting that from...
And you're not. And you're right. I love where you're going with this because you're not. You know, that's why the Millies of the world, who he had his painting, I believe, taken down out of the Pentagon or someplace. You know, those men who actually went to war. Yeah. Those men who actually have real uniforms or real medals.
Had people die and under their command or had to next to them, you know.
So I have such an appreciation for the military. I have such an appreciation for the fact that it's supposed to be nonpartisan. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, these things, these positions. And we do a disservice to ourselves, and I think you were touching on this, where we are not able to have an open mind about how someone else thinks and believes. I remember being in boot camp. I've told this story before. Forgive me, so I'm not going to tell the whole thing. I'll keep it short because I think I told it here. I remember being in boot camp, 18 years old, with my buddy who was 17. His grandmother had to sign him up because he was so young. And this, I wish I could remember his name, but this white kid, this white sailor, tells us he doesn't like black people. Just stands there and says it. Mm-hmm. And my buddy wanted to fight, and I said, we're not going to fight. But me and this kid sat down and we talked all afternoon. Because on Sundays, you had your Sundays to yourself to get your uniforms prepared for the week and things like that. You had like the first half of the day to yourself for the most part. So we were able to kind of sit and talk. And he explained where he was coming from with it. I explained where I was coming from with it. And I always say, I don't know if I changed his mind. I never saw him after we graduated. I have no idea what he went on to do. But what I do know is with two kids, we're able to sit down there and have a discussion that we would have not been able to have if we weren't both serving together.
Because at the end of the day, that company was against everybody else.
100%.
And you had to figure out a way to work within
100%
the doors to get it together. So I might not like you, I might not understand you, but we got to work together to figure this out. And I think that is what the problem is now with this country, is that it's my way or the highway.
Yes.
And if you don't agree with what I'm saying, then, whether you're a Democrat or a Republican, if you're not all the way this way or all the way that way, then, you're worthless to me.
And I also think that serving, and nothing is ever absolute, because there were plenty of traitors who had served before, who were trying to take over the capital of this country. But I want to believe that more often than not, you serving gives you an appreciation for the country you're serving as well.
Well, there's an example is the knucklehead who died. She climbed in the window and he told her to get out and she didn't. So, wow.
Yes.
I applauded it.
As did I.
Again, especially, and it was even more hard for me because you served this country, how much that building means. The Capitol is like the rotunda or the Oval Office. There's certain things that are just held in high esteem as should be, and you didn't do it. So I think that it's a good thing for, again, everyone should have to serve, regardless of money, bank account. Listen, you got to do 2 years. This is what the rule is. And if you don't, then there has to be some type of penalty that you pay, because again, the ultra rich will try and evade it. And, people who try and figure out. And
I'm so hardcore with it. We were talking about it before. We were just fact checking if Israel still had the rule that you had to serve at least 2 years over there in the military. And you and I were discussing it, and you were enlightening me on that there are some Jewish people over there who believe they shouldn't have to, based off of their religious beliefs.
Yes.
And this is where I'm at. Again, I'm super, however you want to look at it, I'm on either end of the spectrum. You don't want to serve, but you want to stay under the protection of this country.
That part.
I say that same thing to people who live in this country. You want to stand here and throw stones, but you want to still live under the protection of this country.
We have friends who are, anti, again, and I tell folks that for the next 4 years, Donald Trump is our president. You don't have to like what he does. He's still the president. There is some respect that comes with that office. The country decided this is who we have. So I might not like most of his decisions. I might not like any of his decisions, but he's not all bad or all good, just like the president before him and the president after him. So it is still, again, hands down, the greatest country in the world by far. I've been to several other countries and I've had conversations with other people, and we're not doing this right. Go to some of them other countries, and the things that you think you have the right to do. An example is, I think it's Arab Emirates or one of those UEA.
Yep.
They took this picture of this lady eating, and she kept pulling up her.
I can't remember what it's called either, but I know what you're saying.
And they thought it was funny. They got arrested and had to serve up to a year in jail because it's against the law in that country. And you think, again, we videotape people all the time. If you were in America, it might have been okay.
Right.
So these are the things, the ability to just be able to go to church, to be able to talk about God, to be able to talk about Trump.
I would say to
in China,
to criticize the country.
Yes, in China, in Syria. Listen, bro, there's people in jail in Iran right now. And they may be far extreme to the right or the left, but there's a lot of countries where you can't criticize or talk about who's in charge or, go to serve your religious differences the way you want to. So you can do all of that here. Again, with these, I just saw a commercial. If you're an American citizen and you get picked up by ICE, you need to call a civil rights attorney.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're already starting this, and again, because you have the right as an American citizen to not be apprehended, to not have your rights violated.
Correct.
In a whole lot of other countries, that's not
correct.
So
it's all of that.
Yes,
that you said, and you can see what wearing the same uniform just does to people. You can see it when we're kids growing up playing sports. It just breeds something.
It makes you a better person. I can say most of the people that have went in the military for that period of time, if you wanted to, it helps to make you a better person. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's important for the country that we all understand that we're one country. It's not blue and red. It's one country. Mm-hmm. I don't have to like what you do. You don't have to like what I do, but we need to play well together. And the military made white, black, Hispanic, Jew, Christian, Muslim work together and figure it out. Mm-hmm. I just think that it would bring back a pride that's missing, because you see people running around, oh, it's America, and I got pride for America. That never served, that never 100%. Did anything, but you have a false pride.
100%.
And you want to tell me what I have to do.
100%.
At times we go to the ballpark and, I've had old people yelling. The national anthem is playing, everybody be quiet, shut up, and you got to stand up and you can't sit. Well, in America, I had the right to do whatever I want to do. Mm-hmm. Again, I fought for this country, so I know that it's a right. Right. You don't have to agree with it, but it's the right that I have as an American citizen to sit, to stand, to cross my heart, to wear a hat. Those are the rights that I have.
Right.
And we've forgotten them. Again, as you said, general orders, lawful orders, they're different. And sometimes just because the person who's telling you to do something doesn't make it a lawful order. Or something that you should do, but you won't know that if you don't know the difference. So
100%. So I'm all for it. He's all for it. Yes. 2 years, everybody automatic, kids go.
Yeah, just go. 17, 18 years old, 2 years. It'll fly by like this. You might enjoy it, might learn, and maybe it'll make the military better because we have a higher volume of folks to mill through vice.
And I want everybody to go. I want everybody to go. Men, women, transgender. Yes. I don't care what it is. I want everyone to be able to go. Trump just signed that ban.
Yeah.
So
I guess maybe they're going to have a different military for them. I don't know.
What are we doing? If people want to serve, let them serve, man. What are you doing?
There's a shortage of them already.
Yeah,
so
what are you doing? Hey guys, thanks for watching. We appreciate you as always.
Yes.
Don't forget, Dave has classes coming up. Dave, you want to shout those out one more time?
Yes. February 1st, Saturday, Women's Empowerment. And then the 8th and the 15th, CCW Firearms Fundamentals. DavidsMark.com, DavidsMarkAZ2020 at Gmail.
And don't forget to follow us on IG as well. Sidney Smith Creator and David's Marks
AZ 2020.
Thank you guys. Everyone have yourselves a great week. We'll see you next one.
Love, peace, and...
Okay. All right.